What a game, though. I think I confused a lot of people there because, I was cheering the Leaf goals. Then I started cheering the Florida goals, and they couldn't understand who I was cheering for. So I had to explain that you can bet the total, which was 5.5, and that game soared over the total. So I was pretty happy about that. A really good first period in that game. But a couple of really good games tonight. One in the Eastern Conference, one in the Western Conference. We're going to talk, obviously, Carolina and Washington, the Metro Division Final. And we're going to talk Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. Andrew, that game yesterday, no disciplinary action going to Sam Bennett, who clearly, guys, and I'm not a Leaf fan, clearly that was an elbow that he tried to hide on Stollarts. You could tell right away there was a problem with Stollarts. He went to the bench, and I'm pretty sure he threw up on the bench leaning over, and that's a sign of a head injury. So remains to be seen. I think he's doubtful. I don't think he's going to play on Wednesday. I don't even know if there's any news out as of yet. But the fact that he was pulled and Joseph Wall came in his first game since April the 17th, and he allowed some goals as Florida made a comeback. We'll see whether this any of this shifts the series. Florida plus 105 now to win the series, down from minus 180. I talked about that yesterday, that I like Florida in the series, and I would double up even if they lost game one, because they've just got to win one game in Toronto out of these first two to take over home ice, Andrew. So plus 105. Are you dabbling a little bit on that before we get into this game?
On the series price?
Yeah.
100.
Plus 105 now.
I said it yesterday. I told you it was my game plan. The game plan so far, so good. I needed the home team to win the first game. And, Carm, what we see a lot of times is the home team ends up winning game one anyway. A lot of times when you get the split, wouldn't you say if a team usually gets a split, they get that split in game two is when you see it. So, I don't cheer for the Leafs very often. I was cheering for them last night, as well as cheering on my over 4% play I had and thinking this price is going to be much, much better on the series if they lose at the Panthers game one. So, yeah, I'm in. I'm on it. Everybody watching, I can put it on out there. I am taking this series wager right now on them. And you know what? I'm curious to see what kind of prices we're going to get on the money line once this series shifts over to Florida. Because this is kind of giving me Colorado and Dallas vibes, right? If you think about the odds we saw when Colorado opened up their series against Dallas on the highway, and they were decent-sized favorites game one and game two, what's going to be the tail of the tape here in game 3 and 4? That's what I'm curious about, if we're seeing these prices in games 1 and 2. So, yeah, I mean, some places are showing pick, some places are showing a small plus price. Sign me up, Carm. I'm in on them. And just real quick, my 2 cents there with the Bennett stuff. Obviously, unacceptable. Can't go through the crease. Can't make any contact. He certainly snuck something in there a little bit. There's no denying that, Carm. Number 1, where's the call on the ice? Number 2, I thought the Leafs were tougher this year. I thought guys stood up for each other this year for that team. I didn't see either of those things. I think it's hard a lot of times for the Department of Safety to step in and make a call for a suspension when the referees didn't even make a call for goaltender interference on the ice. So once again, it looks bad on the referees. And I try not to be hard on referees, but I've been as hard as I've ever been on them this year, just because I have not been seeing stuff that just usually would get called. So, and also the slap shot he took off the mask. I've seen people play ball hockey, Carm, and take a slap shot of an orange ball off the mask and throw up because of that. So I think that before the elbow from Bennett even took place, he should have already been getting a concussion spotter, removing him from the game from that slap shot to the mask. I mean, you can take a wrist shot to the mask, whatever, but if you take a really heavy shot to the mask, that can really hurt you. So my 2 cents, that ended up being a lot more than just 2 cents, but I think there had to be at least a call. I think the Leafs should have stood up for him, and I wouldn't have been shocked to see a 1-game suspension, but wishing him all the best. And I do think Joseph Wall is a good goalie, but he came in cold and didn't look very good there. So Any more thoughts from you on that? And then what do you have for us in the first game of the night?
Yeah, Andrew, refereeing is always going to be questionable. I don't think there's ever been a show. I don't think there's ever been a tweet. I don't think there's ever been any mention where people are like, you know what, the officiating was fantastic tonight.
Yeah.
It is. We're sports bettors. We're handicappers. We bet on games. We're fanboys of teams, and you're always going to hate the officials when the game doesn't go your way or something happens and someone gets injured. Andrew, I used to referee. I got my referee's license for organized ball hockey in arenas, not in schoolyards. And let me tell you, when they came out and they saw that I was on the surface as the referee, there was almost like a sigh of like, oh, because dude, I called everything. I called every penalty. It didn't matter what the score was. And if you chirped at me, you got another 2 for unsportsmanlike conduct. I stick them in the box, and that shuts them up real quickly. That's what I enjoyed from my refereeing days back then. It was some good coin. Do 3 games a night in an arena and make some money. It was a great part-time gig. But let's move to this one. Game 1 in Washington. The Caps are a dog in the series, a dog in the first game against Carolina. And I have this up on the WagerTalk site. This is a client play and a free play. So I'm going to discuss it here, and I'm going to discuss it briefly again on WagerTalk today with Andy Lang at the top of the hour. This is one in which, similar to the Toronto game 1, this is one in which I want to look at the total in this one. These teams, during the regular season, in 4 games, the home team won all 4 games. There was a lot of XG generated in those 4 games across the board, and 3 of those 4 games had at least 6 goals in them. Now I get it. What happens in the regular season does not carry over into the playoffs, but these are also 2 teams that have had extended breaks of 5 and 6 days since clinching their series in 5, each of them, Washington over Montreal, and of course Carolina over the New Jersey Devils. I think we see a bit of a loose game, and by loose game, I don't mean these teams are going to go out there and play pond hockey. It's game 1 of a crucial series, but I don't think they're going to be completely wound up. And I think maybe a couple messages get sent in this first game, and we see some power plays and we see some power play goals. Both teams can do it. I like the total in this one. I like the over 5.5. And I've released that to clients as a 3% play, and it's up on the WagerTalk site as a free play as well too, Andrew.
I love it. Well, we have seen goals there, Carm. But from where I'm sitting right now, I'm going to need you to cash that over with mostly one team and one team only. So I am looking at the team total under for the Washington Capitals here in this one. We're seeing the road team be the short favorites here in Carolina, -125. Total listed at 5.5 in this one. And the thing is about this series, don't get me wrong, the Capitals were the better team. They walked all over the Canadiens, and despite the score line, they were most certainly the better team in a lot of those games, probably every game besides game 3. And that's why this series was a 4-1 victory for the Capitals over the Canadiens. But one thing that everybody can agree on, and I'm sure all the guys in the chat right now could agree on, the Canadiens got bullied by the Washington Capitals. I don't see the Hurricanes getting bullied by them. I don't see them getting pushed around. I don't see them falling for the stuff between the whistles. I don't see them taking stupid penalties against the Washington Capitals. They also see them more during the year than the Montreal Canadiens do. I think the veteran players like Jordan Staal and Brent Burns, those guys are ready. Those guys are available for kind of that leadership, that veteran presence. They're not going to fall for any of these traps. I don't think they're going to have to really worry about getting bullied and walked all over the same way the Canadiens did. So if they can stay away from that rough stuff, I think Carolina's the deeper team. You know, we look at the Capitals to give them all the credit in the world, you know, for guys like McMichael, Dubois, Strome, and then, of course, you got led by Ovechkin. There's guys down the lineup, Mangiapane, Duhaime. But when I look at all 4 lines for the Hurricanes, if both teams say we're going to roll out 4 lines tonight, we're not going to have any double shifts, we're not going to bench any players, and both teams love to play all four lines. I think Carolina is the successor in this one. And I know Carolina is a team that you guys usually hear me backing only when they play at home. But I'm looking at Washington team total under 2.5 goals at a plus 120 price. You can shop around for the best number you can. I believe current number at DraftKings. Let's see. Let's try and get that up-to-date number for you guys at DraftKings is plus 110, actually. So shop around, get the best number you can, but I'm taking the Capitals team total under 2.5. I think that, Carm, with a 5.5 total, we can both cash this ticket, brother. 4-2 works for me for Carolina. I don't care. It's fine with me.
Yeah, Andrew, I'd like to see it. You know what I mean? I've loved the way Washington's played all season long. They just come at you. They have speed. They play well. Against the Montreal Canadiens, and I get it, you're a fan. They played a Canadiens team that were happy to be there and showed some sparks. But Washington, at the end of the day, whether the scores reflected or not, ran over the Montreal Canadiens in that series, winning it in 5 games. They're going to get a bigger, more physical team in Carolina, and a team that's coming into this thinking we are the team to beat in this series. We are the team that's going to make a Stanley Cup run. They're just a good 200-foot team, and this is how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it that they're going to come into this game, whether it's a game 1 or game 2, and trying to establish the fact that they can play a 200-foot game, minimize the neutral zone, and put some bodies into the boards as well too. Not take stupid penalties, and try and force themselves on Washington in this series and take the series. And this is why we're seeing probably the books have this. They have it priced at what, 160, 170 for Carolina and plus 140 for Washington, because they've been here before. Washington could surprise us. No disrespect to that team, but I think, as you said, Carolina is a deeper team. So we'll see. I don't want to put too much stock in game 1s of these series, because we saw it in the first round. We saw it yesterday. I don't want to put too much stock in the Leafs winning that one, because we saw after that first period, Florida really did push forward in that one and had opportunities to tie that one up. So we'll see what happens tonight. It's going to be a couple of really good games. Guys, before we get to the second game, if you're watching on YouTube or the X or even Instagram, do us a favor. Please hit that like button, hit the heart button on the X or on Instagram. Drop a comment in the comment section below. There's 2 games tonight, 4 sides, 2 totals. Let us know what you like. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let us know if you like Carolina, if you like Washington, the over, the under. We always love to hear from you. If you have a question, drop that in the YouTube chat as well too, and we'll try and get it up on the screen and answer it for you on the show. Andrew, any final thoughts on this Carolina series?
Hey, Carm, we just got a question here, and there's so many great guys here. Fortune, we've got Russell, Wash Redskin as usual, Markinson, Action Jackson, so many people, Seth as well, Ticket Cashing University, love that name. This question coming in: who do you, Andrew and Carmine, think has the goaltending advantage in this series? I was just going on a rant to somebody I was talking to about 15 minutes before we went on the show about how the Hurricanes just signed Frederik Andersen to a contract extension a couple days ago while he was still recovering from his injury. Now, everything that I'm seeing actually looks like he's back in the starter's crease, looking sharp. And the fact that they had a lot of rest between series, they were able to get him healthy and get him up. So if it is Frederik Andersen versus Logan Thompson, it's a small edge for the Washington Capitals. If it is Washington Capitals Thompson versus Hurricanes Kochetkov, it's a major advantage for the Washington Capitals. So, Carm, if he's healthy, if he's sharp, getting Freddie Andersen back in the net is huge for this team. And, I'm not trying to disrespect Kochetkov, but it's been made very clear. If Rod Brendamore watched Freddie Andersen play only around 30 games in the regular season, and there was not even a doubt in his mind that he was the starter for the playoffs. That tells you all you need to know about how he feels, how clutch Kochetkov can be. So I think that Logan Thompson is a great goaltender. I think that he looked great in round one. I think that they do have the edge in that, but I think that Hurricanes have the depth in the forwards position. What are your thoughts on this question?
Yeah, Andrew, I heard a couple points from like former goalies yesterday talking on Sportsnet, and one of the things that interests me is they talked about the goalie's actual body size and framing. That the longer a playoff series goes, it is tougher on the goalie, and they were referencing Connor Hellebuck. And how he plays deep in the net, and it was a physical series. And you think about the same thing, Logan Thompson. He sort of fits that mold. The guy's had a fantastic season. I think it was 31-6-6 or 34-6-6 on the season. Absolutely fantastic. But he's never beaten the Carolina Hurricanes. He's only played them twice. He's 0-2 against them. His save percentages is not great. His save percentage is .780. His goals against average is 8.34. Now, those are just numbers based on 2 games in which there were blowouts by the Canes. So we're normally not going to see those kind of numbers. And I'm saying you're not going to see those numbers in this game here. But I think if they get Freddie back and he's healthy, I think the Canes play better in front of their goal, and I would give the advantage to Carolina in this one. It's not to say Logan Thompson can't steal it, but if Washington is chasing the game, it is not good for their goaltending if they're chasing the game. It's up. This is one where if the Canes can get on top, they can instill their will on this Washington Capitals team. We'll see what happens tonight. As I said, don't put too much stock in game one, guys. Watch the first couple of games to see if a pattern has established. And with that said, this is why I'm not taking a side in tonight's game, Andrew. I'm taking the total and hope that both teams contribute.
And a lot of times things can change. We can learn something from one game to the next. We can see something in the first game and say, oh, wow, this team has the matchup advantage here. This defenseman didn't look very good. So, I mean, Russell had a good point. Everyone all year waiting for Caps to hit a wall, and it never happened. How could you not take Caps at plus money? and the only answer I have for that is the Hurricanes have been top of the futures board all year long as well, right? So you look at the futures board right now, Florida Hurricanes, before they even see a Western team listed there. So the Hurricanes have respect as well in the marketplace. It's based on just how this format is set up, the matchup we're seeing, despite Washington playing so well all year. People just also don't seem to respect Carolina either, Carm. That's the difference. Like, people keep on talking about how the Caps get no love. People doubted them all year. They never hit the wall. But I also don't know that many people like that just love betting on the Hurricanes. Like, you don't really see it on Gambling X. You don't really see it across the media. You don't even see it across TV networks. People just don't love this Carolina team because they're not flashy. They don't have Ovechkin chasing his records. They don't have this Tom Wilson guy that makes all these hits. They just kind of are what they are. They're a well-led team by a good coach. They roll 4 lines and they play their kind of hockey. I mean, Carolina is the least flashy team, let's be honest, out of all the teams. But that's kind of what makes them who they are a little bit, I would say. So we'll be seeing. Russell says you don't think Canes have been overrated all year. Well, I think we're about to find out, Russell. We're about to find out if they have been overrated all year. That's for sure, Carm. So, hey, that's my thought.
Yeah, it's the thing. Each and every year over the last few years, we've seen it. This Carolina team, in their playoff runs have looked good, especially at home. They don't lose a lot of games at home in the playoffs. But then they get on the road and it's a completely different game. And I don't know if it's the last change, the matchups. They just don't seem to win. And then, they make it as far as like a conference final. And it's the same thing. It is like, how many chances, when they brought in players last year, like Orlov on defense to help them out. At what point do you say Rod Brindamore isn't the guy to get him over the hump? You can have a coach that can get you to a conference finals. But if he can't get you into a Stanley Cup and win a Stanley Cup, at what point? We've seen teams fire Stanley Cup coaches the following year or the year after. I have to think, as much as they love Rod Brindamore, what happens to them if they get bounced in this series? Because there's certain players that have shelf lives on, and you got a few of them on the Canes as well too. So we'll see how this series goes, but it's going to be intriguing. I would love like at least a 6-game series in this one. We'll see how that one goes.
And I think, Carm, if anybody likes the Capitals, I putting it out here now. All the guys in the chat that are saying good things about the Capitals, take them at 10-1 right now to win the Stanley Cup. I think that if you like the Capital, I mentioned it last week on the show, and I don't like them right now in game one, so I'm not going to take it right now. If you like the Capitals tonight to win the game, and I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating a bit, but you like the plus money tonight, I can interest you in even better plus money, and that's 10-1 to win the Stanley Cup. Because if they go up 1-0 in this series, that 10-1 is gone. That is gonzo. That Stanley Cup future price is out of here. And they're at home as well. So, if they even go 1-1 at home and they go to Carolina and steal a game and this series gets tight, nobody is respecting the Metropolitan Division right now. I don't think people are respecting either Metro teams. A lot of people think it's Toronto or Florida going to the Stanley Cup, one of those two teams. So if you like Washington, even in the slightest, I wouldn't talk anybody off a future. But I believe you were about to go into the next game, Carm.
Yeah, no, and I get what you're saying there, Andrew, about odds and what have you. To anyone who says, well, the Caps have no shot, they led start to finish, gate to wire, winning the Eastern Conference. That's number one. Number two is anytime you feel a team does not have a chance, all you have to do is use the St. Louis Blues as a frame of reference. The St. Louis Blues, in their Stanley Cup year in December, were near the bottom or in last place. And went on a run, brought up Jordan Binnington, won 13 or 14 in a row. This team went on a run that did not stop until they won Game 7 in Boston to win the Stanley Cup. You're always in it. You have to have a ticket to win the lottery. And it's the same thing as far as the Stanley Cup playoffs go. You have to have a team in it to win it. Speaking of winning lotteries, Andrew, 3.5%. That is what the New York Islanders' chances of winning the draft lottery last night was. But somehow their 4 balls popped up and they win the draft lottery and get the first pick in the draft. Quick thought from you on this one. I know secretly you're probably hoping that the Chicago Blackhawks did not win the draft lottery, but I would have liked to have seen San Jose win it, but it's the Islanders, San Jose, and Chicago as your top 4. And then I believe it's Utah in 4th. By the way, I'm hearing Utah's name is going to be the Mammoths. I'm not sure if you heard that, Andrew.
Ooh, the Mammoths. Yeah, I saw that. I think they kind of ruined it by making all these social media accounts, changing their social media account names to Utah Mammoth. But quick thoughts, and I'll try and actually be quick this time. I think that let's think about the NFL, right? You think about the NFL every year at the end of the season, you've got fans that are cheering against their own team. They want so badly for their team to lose the last 2 games so they can put themselves in a position to get that first overall pick or get that 3rd overall pick or whatever it may be. The NHL has tried to get away from that. They don't want it to be predictable who is going to get that number 1 overall pick, which is why they have the draft lottery, which is why it's designed the way it's designed. But having said all of that, I think it should only be maybe the top 6 to 8 teams, or the bottom 6 to 8 teams that deserve a spot at winning the number 1 overall pick. 6 to 8 teams. That's the way I look at it. As you mentioned, Carm, I think it was 10th or 11th. I think the Islanders were the 11th worst team this year in the NHL. I don't think at any moment the 11th worst team deserves that number 1 overall pick. One thing I will say from a betting perspective here, and I'll probably put a video out on this, in a couple weeks. James Higgins, his numbers to go number 1 overall pick, most of your guys' sports books should offer this. It was fluctuating up and down all year long. And he was like minus 250 at one point. And then all of a sudden he went back up to being projected for many people to be 3rd or 4th, 5th pick. I think that he's going to go to New York Islanders. They need a forward. They want a guy, an offensive weapon like him. I believe he's from the New York area. I think James Higgins is now going to be the number 1 overall pick. They don't need a defenseman like Schaefer. They need a forward and a goal scorer. James Higgins is the guy. He's American. He's from the area. I think he goes 1st overall, Carm. So there's some betting info, I guess, for us here.
Listen, Andrew, we're going to get to this next game now. I'm a Sabres fan. There's no team that is more jinxed than the city of Buffalo. 4 Super Bowl losses in a row. The Sabres make it to a Stanley Cup Finals. Brett Hall's skate is in the blue paint, but they start celebrating, so they don't review the goal. They get cheated out of a possible Stanley Cup. They lose the lottery draft to the Edmonton Oilers, and Connor McDavid goes there. And that's the segue. Connor McDavid in this series, Andrew, what does Connor McDavid do? 4 games between these two teams this season. Connor played in 3 games and had 1 point. So they somehow found a way of slowing down Connor McDavid. Can they slow him down in this series? Because the LA Kings did it for 40 minutes every game. But once the 3rd period hit, they sort of just gifted him the blue line and said, here, carry it in, score some goals. And they did. 11 of their first 15 goals scored were in the 3rd period.
I think when I look at the defensive pairings for Vegas, that's going to be the biggest difference. Hag, Pietrangelo, McNabb, Theodore, Hannafin, and Whitecloud. Those guys are all like 6 feet, like 220 pounds. It seems like these guys are huge. They are not going to make it as easy for the Edmonton Oilers to enter the offensive zone, to go in front of the net and score goals the way they did. That's going to be the biggest difference maker, I believe, looking at the defensive core for them. And you know what? I think Darcy Kemper played well for the LA Kings, but I'm still going to give the edge to Adin Hill, who didn't really have a great start to the series against Minnesota, but he certainly finished the series on a good note against Minnesota. So I think they're going to take it in game 1. And I also say I'm going to take that team total, Carm, over. So I got 1 team total under today and 1 team total over. I think for the most part, a lot of percentage of the time, if you're going to beat the Oilers, you're going to score 4 goals. And a lot of times it could be even worse. It could be you score 4 goals and you lose to the Oilers. So give me the plus 110 number, Vegas to reach the 4-goal mark. I think this opening game at home is so huge. Let's not forget how Minnesota played in Vegas. Minnesota was a pretty decent team on the road in Vegas during that series. They scored some goals. They made Vegas sweat a little bit. And I think in at least 2 of the games in Vegas, they scored the first goal. So I think it's very crucial for Vegas to go out there and get that first goal. Some books are showing 6.5. Some are showing 6. I think that Vegas, it's important for them to play a solid defensive game. Wouldn't shock me to see a lower scoring game and then looking like me relying on some late goals in the game to cash that team total. Carmen, because I can't see many people in hockey tonight betting this game under. So I know the books will be happy. I'm curious to hear what Yanni the Greek has to say on WagerTalk today, but I can definitely see people just lining up to the window to bet the over in this game. So that kind of worries me a little bit as well, that maybe taking a team total over isn't a good idea, but I like Vegas in game 1 on home ice. What about you?
I really hope they're lining up to bet the over in this one, Andrew, because I might get some plus money on the under. I've watched this line bounce around, and we talk about Odds Logic and their website and the odds, and you can track the odds, you can track the odd movements on Odds Logic. It's a really good site to have a membership at, and I think Andrew and I mentioned you can get 7 days free. I'll tweet out a link after the show to give it a try as well too. But this number I saw it go to 6.5, and then I saw it drop back to 6, and a couple of the sharp books were at 6. It's creeped up to 6.5 again, laying 20 cents on the over. So you're getting even money on the under on 6.5. I don't think the Oilers are coming into this game wanting to play, especially after those first 2 games in LA where they got absolutely obliterated by the Kings, a team who doesn't score goals. They've got to be better defensively, and they were for the most part. Their goaltending got a little bit better, but I still think that's a series in which the Kings gifted to the Edmonton Oilers. That should have been the Kings winning that series. I think the Oilers got to be better defensively, and they can be better defensively. We've seen it from this Oilers team. Not only last year when they went on that insane 16-game winning streak where they played some very good defense, but even this year, they had spurts of games, 10-game segments where they played some very good defense. And you're going to have to do that with the Vegas Golden Knights, because if the Knights get on top of you early, they're basically going to grind you into the ground. You can't fall behind them early and expect to come back in the third period against this Vegas Golden Knights team. The goaltending advantage lies with the Vegas Golden Knights. Adin Hill against either of Picard or Skinner, but it doesn't mean that Skinner or Picard can't put in a fine performance. We saw Skinner do it in the playoffs last year in the run to the Stanley Cup for this Edmonton Oilers team. I think 6.5 for the first game of this one is too high. I think this should be a 6. So I'm glad. I'll be more than happy to take the under 6.5.
I like it, Carm. The contrarian play a little bit here, and a lot of people are going to like those goals. But you know what? I think Vegas's key to victory, I think, is low scoring. As we all know, Edmonton thrives in those high-scoring ones. And let's be real, though. At the end of the day, I also believe that Edmonton's saying to themselves, guys, we really can't only win games when we score 5 goals. We need to be able to win those low-scoring games as well. No props really too much for me today. I might tweet some out later in the day. Carm, once I get a chance to watch game 1 of each series, I'll put up some thoughts that I'll mention on the show here on PuckTime. We'll start talking about some props a lot more because, as you guys know, there's only 1 or 2 games we're going to be breaking down here on PuckTime. So we'll look at some of these numbers and try and explore the prop market a little bit here. But $5 Tuesday, guys, you can get a best bet from each handicapper for just $5. Carm and I are both in action. You can get our favorite plays for just $5, or of course, take advantage of that great deal. We have 3 weeks of all access, all plays for the price of 2 weeks. So it's a great deal right now if you want to join long-term. I'm having a fantastic season across the board. In the NHL, we're doing well. We're still ranked number 2 year-to-date on the season, but plus 45 units in 2025. Guys, managing the bankroll correctly, really doing well across multiple sports. Had a good day yesterday in Major League Baseball. And I'll tell you what, no huge streaks from me over the past little while. No massive streaks, but we're limiting juice, managing the bankroll properly, and getting the job done across multiple sports. So if you guys want to join with me, forget about daily picks. Join me for a week. Join me on that great deal. Get 3 weeks for the price of 2, because that's the best way to go right now. I think I'm number 5 overall at WagerTalk. There's 37 handicappers having a good season, and rock with me. CFL season's around the corner. That's my bread and butter. So I cannot wait for that. So it's a great day. And if you don't want to join long-term, of course, we always recommend those $5 Tuesday plays just to get your feet wet with your favorite handicapper. But Markinson says, who bumped you off that number 1 spot? Was it Prez? And unfortunately, it was. But I'm going to come for him. I'm going to get him. And I'm going to get that number 1 spot back, Carm. Hopefully I can. But what do you have going today, Carm? I know there's a big footy match going on today.
Yeah, the playoffs have been very good. 12-4 in the playoffs right now. Number 1 at WagerTalk in the playoffs. And then the last 30 days, I think over something around 57 units of profit in the NHL in the last 30 days. It's been a fantastic run. 25-5 after last night's win on the over in the Florida and Toronto game. 1 play up for today. It is available to 4% plays, available for $5 on $5 Tuesdays, Customer Appreciation Day at WagerTalk, where you can get several cappers, as many cappers as you want. They've packages loaded for $5 with some great promos. And today's the final day to get that 2 weeks of all access, and you get a 3rd week for free. So you get 3 weeks of all access. For me, that's going to cover obviously the NHL. It's going to cover soccer and any other sport that I toss in there as well too. We're going to try and keep a solid run going. I'm going to be on WagerTalk today at the top of the hour. I'm going to talk about today's Champions League game. I don't have a play on it, but the play that I'm going to discuss will likely be a small client play as well too. I've given you a client play for the NHL tonight in the Carolina-Washington game. You can see my write-up in the free play section at WagerTalk. Ton of cappers with free plays there that you guys can grab. Andrew, I'm looking forward to these games over the next couple of days. It's going to be all these game ones and then the game twos. Like you said, we can look at it. I'm going to give you guys one final thought on this Edmonton and Vegas Golden Knights game, because we talk about scoring. The Oilers, you don't want to give them power plays, but if nothing else, the Vegas Golden Knights don't take a lot of penalties. Andrew, in the 6-game series, they took 28 minutes in penalties, 2 in the first game, 2 in the second, 10 in the third, 6 in the fourth, and then 4 and 4. Not a lot of power plays. 3 power play goals for Minnesota in all those attempts. Vegas Golden Knights had 5 power play goals. So the Oilers don't want to take any penalties against this Knights team as well too. We'll see if they can lock down McDavid tonight in a low-scoring affair. 3-2 sounds like a good score for tonight. Everyone's happy.
Well, if
Close
you get
it out, Andrew.
Hey, if you get 6.5, Carm, if you get 6.5, you got to root for the 4-2 for me so I can cash my team total bet. So, all right, guys, I'm going to ask for one favor. The live chat has been bumping. I know a lot of you guys can't catch the live chat, so if you're watching afterwards as well, we appreciate it. But I'll tell you what, the comments help us a lot after the videos. So when this video ends in about 30 seconds, comment below a goal scorer for tonight. Give us a goal scorer. Give us a player you think will score a goal. We're going to shout all the guys out tomorrow on the show that were right and they were correct. It really does help out Carmine and myself, and of course, all of us at WagerTalk. So it means a lot to us. We love doing this show, and we love all of you guys in the chat or afterwards commenting. So comment a goal scorer, comment the odds, and we'll show you guys some love tomorrow on PuckTime. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time, same place on WagerTalk TV.